More human being on this earth than Chimaev.
He's trying to be some macho man. You're not macho man.
Calls himself the wolf. You sure do act like a coward.
Everyone can give the voice, but voice stop when we're coming. If he's scared, it's good. If not, we'll make him.
Opposites between Chimaev and Strickland. A war of words and broken pride. The press conferences surrounding Khamzat Chimaev and Sean Strickland escalated far beyond normal fight promotion. What began as competitive trash talk quickly turned personal and hostile. Known for his sharp tongue and fearless attitude, Strickland repeatedly tried to get under Chimaev's skin, calling him a fake fighter living off hype and claiming he would collapse under real pressure. Chimaev's response, however, was cold and explosive. He fired back by telling Strickland, "You're just a clown who talks too much, but inside the cage, I'll make you swallow your words along with your teeth." Those exchanges pushed the tension surrounding the fight to a boiling point long before fight night even arrived. Brutal training camps and physical transformation. Behind closed doors, both men reportedly endured grueling training camps described by insiders as borderline suicidal. Khamzat Chimaev focused heavily on fixing what critics long considered his biggest weakness: cardio and endurance. Training in the mountains, he pushed his body through punishing sessions designed to strengthen his lungs and heart, ensuring his explosive wrestling pressure could last all 5 rounds. Meanwhile, Sean Strickland embraced his trademark violent sparring style, battling elite wrestlers daily to sharpen his takedown defense and ability to stay standing. Strickland made it clear that he would do everything possible to stop.
He would handle a normal disagreement with another man versus what he says he would do if confronted by a group.
I just don't. If he were to come up to me like a man, say, "You know what, Sean, you said some things about my dad, Kaderov." And I'm like, "Well, you know what, dude? You hoard yourself out, not me."
Strickland.
Here's the thing, you guys. Let me tell you something. It's fun to hurt people.
They could withstand his wrestling,
Good, Sean. Add the kicks.
but nothing he does is something I haven't seen. So, it's going to be a hell of a fight, but I'm the only one that can do it.
Chimaev from turning the fight into a ground battle. Clash of revolves around immediate pressure, closing the distance instantly, overpowering Strickland physically, dragging him to the mat, and finishing with submissions or brutal ground and pound. On the other side, Strickland understands that his key to victory lies in constant jabs, movement, and desperate takedown defense. His goal is to frustrate Chimaev mentally and force him into a striking battle in the center of the cage where Strickland's precision and durability become major weapons. Chaotic backstage tension and Dana White's intervention. The heavy security surrounding the event was reportedly not just for show. According to reports, Sean Strickland attempted to approach Chimaev's locker room during media day, forcing Dana White to intervene personally and warn both fighters that the bout could be canceled if a physical altercation occurred outside the cage. That backstage tension was visible in both fighters' body language. Strickland appeared furious and restless, while Chimaev carried an intense, silent focus that made the atmosphere feel even more dangerous, as if an explosion inside the octagon was inevitable, fighting for identity and legacy. Ultimately, UFC 328 is about far more than a middleweight title. For Khamzat Chimaev, victory would cement his image as the unstoppable boogeyman of the division and push him closer to superstardom as one of the most feared fighters in the sport. For Sean Strickland, winning would represent redemption for a street-minded warrior who defied expectations through grit, toughness, and relentless pressure. By the end of the night, either the Wolf will establish total dominance or the unbreakable street fighter will survive the storm once again. The two of the most dangerous names in UFC, both Khamzat Chimaev and Sean Strickland, walked completely different paths, shaped by hardship, violence, and survival. Chimaev grew up in war-torn circumstances and built his reputation through relentless dominance in wrestling and brutal finishes inside the cage. From the moment he entered the UFC, he shocked the MMA world by destroying the rivalry between Khamzat Chimaev and Sean Strickland goes far beyond a simple matchup inside the cage. It represents a clash of two completely different identities and fighting philosophies. Chimaev carries the aura of an unstoppable finisher, an aggressive force who pushes forward from the opening second, aiming to break opponents early. Strickland, on the other hand, thrives on psychological warfare. Constant pressure through both Khamzat Chimaev and Sean Strickland built their reputations through very different paths before reaching the highest level in UFC. Chimaev emerged as a rare prospect who immediately drew attention after a dominant start in the organization, winning fights in rapid succession and breaking records for shortest time between victories. Strickland, in contrast, spent years grinding through the rankings, facing setbacks, rebuilding himself, and slowly developing into a top-tier contender through consistency rather than explosive arrival. Their contractual relationship with the UFC also reflects their different career trajectories. Chimaev was quickly fast-tracked due to his spectacular finishes and marketability, earning main card opportunities early in his run. Strickland's contract path was more traditional, marked by steady progression through multiple fights, proving himself against increasingly difficult opponents until he reached title contention. This difference highlights how the promotion often balances raw hype with long-term merit when shaping its...
You think you're tough, man. We'll see who handles deep water better. You're gonna drown.
Has his chance to try, but it's not gonna work with me. I am Khamzat Chimaev.
Visions. Inside the cage, Chimaev's performances are defined by overwhelming pressure and early dominance. His ability to close distance instantly and transition into wrestling exchanges has made him one of the most feared early-round fighters in modern MMA. Strickland's performances, however, are built on durability and volume striking. He rarely seeks quick finishes, instead relying on maintaining pace, reading opponents over time, and breaking them mentally through attrition and composure. Chimaev's reputation in his homeland, Chechnya, and among many fans across Russia and the Middle East is that of a national combat symbol, an undefeated warrior figure who represents strength and aggression. His success is often celebrated as a source of pride, and his fights attract strong regional support. Strickland's reputation in the United States is more polarizing. While some admire his honesty and toughness, others view his outspoken nature as controversial. Still, his rise to championship-level competition earned him respect as a legitimate elite fighter. Beyond national perception, both fighters have developed distinct global fan identities. Chimaev is often seen as part of a new generation of dominant grapplers who can finish fights early and decisively, while Strickland represents the hardened, pressure-tested striker who thrives in long wars. These identities shape how audiences interpret every performance they deliver inside the cage. Ultimately, their standing in the UFC ecosystem reflects two contrasting ideals of success: explosive domination versus endurance and resilience. Chimaev's aura is built on inevitability, ending fights before they fully begin, while Strickland's legacy is tied to surviving adversity and outlasting opponents over time. This contrast is exactly what makes any potential clash between them not just a fight, but a stylistic and cultural collision. A potential showdown between Khamzat Chimaev and Sean Strickland inside the UFC octagon would be one of the most explosive stylistic clashes the sport could offer. It is not just a fight between two elite contenders, but a collision between two completely opposite philosophies, one built on overwhelming early dominance, and the other on endurance, survival, and psychological warfare. In the opening moments, the most likely scenario is that Chimaev comes out aggressively, closing distance immediately, and trying to impose his wrestling before Strickland can settle into his rhythm. His goal would be to break the structure of the fight early, drag it to the ground, and force immediate defensive reactions. Strickland, meanwhile, would rely on footwork, a sharp jab, and composure under pressure to keep the fight standing and avoid early chaos. If Chimaev succeeds in securing takedowns early, the fight could quickly shift into his territory of control and pressure. On the ground, his top pressure and physical intensity often suffocate opponents, creating openings for either ground-and-pound stoppages or submissions. However, Strickland's toughness and ability to absorb damage make him a difficult opponent to finish quickly, even in bad positions. If Strickland survives the early storm, the fight begins to change dramatically. His style thrives in longer exchanges, where he can read timing, disrupt rhythm, and gradually wear opponents down with volume striking. In later rounds, Chimaev's explosive pace could start to slow. giving Strickland more opportunities to counter and turn the fight into a drawn-out battle of attrition. The crowd atmosphere for such a fight would be electric and deeply divided. Fans of Chimaev would erupt with every forward rush or takedown attempt, while Strickland's supporters would respond strongly to every counterpunch and moment of survival. The arena would feel like it is split into two emotional camps, each reacting to every shift in momentum. Media buildup would also play a major role in shaping the fight's intensity. Strickland's outspoken personality would generate constant verbal exchanges and psychological pressure during fight week, while Chimaev's calm, focused demeanor would create an aura of quiet danger. The contrast would amplify anticipation, making the fight feel inevitable long before it happens. Ultimately, the outcome could hinge on a single decisive sequence. Either Chimaev imposes his explosive early game and secures a stoppage, or Strickland absorbs the pressure, extends the fight, and turns it into a grueling test of endurance. In both cases, it would not just be a fight, it would be a defining moment that reveals which style truly prevails under maximum pressure.
And finally, stay tuned to keep up with our latest updates about UFC.